So you'll have seen from that intro that I had my thumb over the top of the guitar and I was using it to fret notes on the low E string. Now my question is, was that good or bad? Should I have done that or should I not be doing that? And it's a very widely debated topic amongst different Facebook groups and guitar forums and stuff like that. With one side saying, no, you shouldn't do that, it's not proper technique, and another side saying, oh, but such and such famous guitar player does it, so it must be fine. And the truth is, in my opinion, they're both right. You absolutely should be able to use your thumb over the top of the neck, and it's a totally valid technique and it absolutely has its uses, but you should only do it in certain situations and only if certain other criteria have already been met. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So let's first talk about how we actually generate enough force to be able to fret a note properly. Now, as a beginner, you just need to develop strength in your hand, and that comes over time. The same way that if you go to the gym and you're lifting weights, the more you do it, the stronger you're going to get. Well, it's the same principle. The more you play guitar and the more you practice, the stronger your hand and the stronger your forearm is going to get. And that's going to make it easier to fret notes and play chords and just make everything ring out a lot clearer. But there are 4 points of leverage that will help us produce the most optimal amount of force in the most efficient way possible. So point 1, we need to think about the arm that our fretting hand is attached to as a whole. Specifically think about our elbow. Imagine that elbow, you're trying to bring it behind your body. And as you do that, the whole guitar will be travelling in this direction. Now that force gets counterbalanced by your picking arm. The elbow of that arm is also trying to go behind your body, but that means the guitar is getting pushed in this direction. Now those two forces counterbalance each other, so the guitar doesn't actually move anywhere when you're pressing both of them together. Whilst that's going on, the fingers in your fretting hand, pressing down on the fretboard, they are also pushing the guitar in this direction. Whilst that's going on, assuming your thumb is in the proper position and you've got it in the right place, your thumb should be pushing the guitar in this direction. Again, counterbalancing the force of your fingers. Now, problem here, if you have your thumb over the top, your thumb wants to come in this direction. It wants to come towards your fingers. So if your thumb's over the top like this, well now your thumb is pushing the guitar that way towards the floor. So the equation is no longer balanced. One arm pushing it this way, one arm pushing it that way. Our fingers also pushing it this way, and our thumb is now going down towards the floor. If you imagine you've got 2 cars driving along a road, they're driving towards each other and they crash into each other, they'll do a lot more damage and produce a lot more force if they crash into each other head on. If you've got one car driving forward and another one hits it from the side, it's not going to be as big a deal, it's not going to cause as much damage. But since we're beginners and we don't have a lot of strength in our hand, we want to be able to produce as much force as we possibly can so we can actually fret notes and hear those notes ringing out clearly. Now here's the important detail that gets missed out by a lot of people that make the insert famous guitar player that uses their thumb over the top argument. These players, John Mayer, Matthias Asato, Jimi Hendrix, whoever it is that they're using in their example, they've been playing guitar for a long enough amount of time that they've developed enough strength in their hand that if they had to, they can play chords properly. They could play them the proper way like this with their thumb round the back if they wanted to, but they're choosing not to for the sake of whatever music they're playing. But the main key is that they have developed enough muscular development in their hand that they could do it either way. They could do it any way they want. You, as a beginner, don't have that luxury because you can't play this chord or any bar chords properly yet. Now, using your thumb over the top should not be a workaround to avoid playing chords the proper way. It's not some sort of cheat you should use to make things easier. It's a tool that you use to create a specific sound after you've developed a solid foundation of doing things the proper way. So if you're playing your bar chords like this, because you can't play bar chords like this, then you're never going to get better at playing those bar chords the proper way, because you're avoiding practicing them like that. And I'm sorry to say this, but these type of bar chords, as much as they are really difficult right now, and as a beginner I thought they were one of the most difficult things that I was ever doing on a guitar, they took me ages, but they are the easiest forms of bar chords that there are. There's a million different bar chords out there in the world of guitar playing that are a lot more difficult to play than these ones are. And you're never going to be able to play any of those more difficult, more exciting sounding chords because you're not bothering to put the work in to play the basic ones the proper way. So how are you ever going to be able to play chords like this? Or chords like this? Or chords like this? You're going to find that it's not possible, because trying to play these kinds of chords with your thumb over the top like that, it just stops your hand from being in an open enough position where your fingers can stretch wide enough to play those types of chords. And like I've said already, it's going to stop you from developing enough strength in your hand to be able to play those kinds of chords. And it doesn't even relate to just chords, it can even be different licks or scales and stuff. If you want to do any sort of lick that involves a wide stretch, you can't do it with your thumb over the top like this. You just can't get your fingers round the fretboard enough. You need to have your thumb down so you can stretch your fingers out. So if you find that you're trying to play these more difficult things, but you're used to having your hand like this the whole time, then you're going to end up going right back to square one, and you're going to have to unlearn all these habits and relearn everything the proper way, and it's going to be like starting guitar all over again. You'd be as well learning how to do things properly the first time round, getting that solid foundation under your fingers, and then once you're comfortable with that, you can move on and start using your thumb over the top and putting your hand in this position and playing things with this less proper way, because you know that if you have to, you can go back and do things the proper way. Because like I said at the start, having your thumb over the top absolutely has its uses, and it's a totally valid way of doing things. You know, it provides this really great percussive almost sort of sound when you're sitting strumming. You know, and it's great for all those sort of wee Hendrix type fills and stuff, and it's great for like using as a muting technique in blues. You just can't get that sort of sound with having your thumb all the way down here. You do need to have your thumb over the top for some things, but it should be a tool that you have that you can use at your disposal. It shouldn't be something that you're constantly relying on. We need to have a solid understanding of the rules before it becomes okay for us to break the rules. Now, if you want to be just some bedroom guitar player that can bash out a couple of Jimi Hendrix songs and you're happy with that and that's all you want to do, then by all means, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and do it. And you can disregard pretty much everything that I've said in this video. But if you're someone who wants to continuously progress and get better at guitar and constantly challenge yourself and learn new and more interesting things, then don't be afraid to have your thumb over the top and use it. But you do need to respect the solid foundation of good technique that you need to have built up before it's okay for you to start using these less conventional techniques. Another way that you can ensure that you do keep progressing and keep challenging yourself and learning new things is to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, because I've got great new lessons coming out every week. That was such a smooth transition. I'm so proud of that. But yeah, go and do that. New lessons coming out every week. I hope you enjoyed this one. Cheers. Happy practicing.